First of all, I want to see everybody's story that they wrote before the game. I already told Bruce. And back in Kentucky, you know, you want to make sure when that bear's there, laying there, you want to poke it. You better make sure he's dead. I think everybody wrote the Raptors off and, you know, gave us up for dead. But that locker room is full of fighters and scrappers and guys that are really getting into it now. Again, like I told them, it's a marathon, but I'm happy for those young men in there. I read some of the stuff, not only here, but around the country, about how, you know, Indiana was going to win and, you know, the Raptors weren't going to do this. I love that because I think our guys use that as motivation, use it as fuel to fight, to scrap. And, you know, and that, again, they did what they did for 82 games, and that was what was important.
Hey, Coach, that fourth quarter, 11 points you guys score. Any fear in that fourth quarter there?
Well, we stunk it up in the fourth quarter. That's somebody asked about my heart rate. We just couldn't. I don't know if we ran out of gas. Again, the guys were so jacked up emotionally to start the game. Going through the game, I thought we ran out of gas, and that's why I was trying to give Kyle a little bit more time going into the fourth quarter. Leaving DC, leaving DeMar, I thought, you know, we took some tired shots, made some tired plays down the stretch. But again, they were so jacked up and they wanted it so bad. I thought they just were exhausted emotionally, physically, and, you know, it wasn't pretty, believe me. But our defense carried us down the stretch. The number one thing, and I said this before the series started, before the game started tonight, was taking care of the ball. We only had 8 turnovers. We won that battle. They had 13. And you look at every game, except for one, I think it was tied, but every team that didn't turn the ball over won the game. And that was the difference tonight.
You mentioned after game one that the team was probably playing a little tight, Kyle and DeMar especially. Do you think now that the monkey's off your back that you'll see the team that won 56 games in the second round?
I hope so. You know, again, you know, the first 3 quarters was more like that team. The fourth quarter wasn't. I thought, along with fatigue, tightness, they wanted it so bad. But hopefully got the monkey off our back. I hope everyone continues to doubt us. I think that's motivation for us. I thought our crowd carried us through the time we were tired. You know, that's why we earned home court advantage going down the stretch. And that was the difference, I thought. I thought that kept us going. If we had been on the road and that fatigue, that emotionally drained, I don't know if we could have pulled it through.
Dwane, to your right, I know you talk about Norm playing beyond his years a lot this year, but just a word on what he did today.
He made some big shots in his first rotation when he was in there. I thought he did an excellent job. You know, I thought we needed another ball handler, a bigger body with DC on Paul George down the stretch. But that young man is earning his keep right now, and he's doing a heck of a job.
Dwane, might be too early to ask this, but come next year after a 7-game series like this, do you feel now you have a huge rivalry now you've built with Indiana? It's going to carry over from years to come after these 7 games?
I will say this. They're a tough team. I mean, and that young man, Miles Turner, is going to be a player, and I want to congratulate them. I'm glad you asked that because Frank did a heck of a job. They made adjustments. We made adjustments. That team right there is a big-time team. Paul George is back, you know, after his thank you, Messiah. After his injury, that young man has come back and really made amends as far as with his conditioning, his body, and he played like the all-star that he is right now.
Dwane, right down here in the front. You said in Game 6 that missing shots affected your defense. Mm-hmm. In this game, did you feel like you were able to pull out of that and defend to the buzzer?
I thought it did, Bruce. I thought so, too. I thought the crowd pushed us over, you know, emotionally when we weren't making shots, turning the ball over. Kyle was dead tired going down the stretch. He made a huge layup, but we just couldn't make a shot. And but I thought the crowd pulled us through. Our execution, we've got to do a better job of executing down the stretch against that pressure. And we didn't do a good job with that.
Dwane, over here on the back.
Right.
Obviously, the work isn't done, but you've talked so much about taking the next step. Are you expecting this team to be a little more relaxed in the next round now with the kind of having cross this hump?
Ryan, I don't know if relax is the word I would use, but, play freer. Play freer, play basketball, not worry about the history and, everything everybody's writing and everything and who's going to be here, who's not going to be here. Believe me, that affects families. And it's part of the job, but I think guys will be freer now. And, again, I don't know if relaxed. I don't want them to be relaxed because, like you said, we're not done. We have a tough Miami team coming in after a tough Indiana team. It's going to be a physical battle just like this series was. And so we can't relax, but I think we'll play freer.
Dwane, on your right here. You touched on it a moment ago, but how would you describe Paul's performance throughout this series?
Unbelievable. I tell you what, I remember trying to prepare for a young Kobe Bryant. And this young man, reminds me of trying to prepare for a young Kobe Bryant back in the Laker days. And I was back in Seattle. And, that guy was like, even that last shot, Nick, I thought it was going in. And he, he was always open. We had to tag team him with Norm and also with DC in those situations. I think he's back, and I'm happy for him now that we're finished with him. But I'm happy for him because he's a super young man. He represents everything basketball should be about, and he's back to his All-Pro, All-Star form.
What did you think about DeMar's over here? What did you think about DeMar's performance as a whole, the stretch in the third, and then getting to close out those free throws at the end?
Huge, but I didn't know he had 32 attempts. But he really, you could see him. He was playing freer, more so than he kind of got his swagger back a little bit, coming off pin downs, pick and rolls, jumping up, initiating contact. Had a heck of a block in transition, which was huge. But again, those two young men, they're not going to forget how to play basketball. It's just a matter of hopefully them playing freer, getting whatever the monkey off their back, and playing basketball, back to playing to their identity the way we did for 82 games.
Coach, over here, you touched on it a second ago about what you expect with the physicality coming up Miami. I know you're still enjoying this victory, but can you talk a little bit about what else you expect in that series coming up?
Physicality, and Dwayne Wade is back to being a young Dwayne Wade. He is a handful. He knows how to play in a playoff situation. Prepared for him before, but again, he can will a team to a victory. Kind of been watching them out of one side of our eye, and our scouts have been following both Charlotte and Miami, and just he's back to being a young guy. And Dragic is playing big time. He's leading their team off the ball when Wade doesn't have it. Whiteside is patrolling the paint. So our work will be cut off for us, not only on the defensive end, but the offensive end also. So, again, back to, playing against their physicality and their shot blocking ability with Whiteside.
Hey, Coach, going back to DeMar DeRozan, huge first quarter. Second quarter, shot wasn't falling. How big was it for him to keep shooting in his second, third, and fourth quarters?
Who's? DeMar, he was huge. I mean, again, I thought he got his swagger back, his rhythm back a little bit. Playing with confidence, not thinking, not dancing around with the ball. He was decisive, and that's the way he's got to play. I mean, that's the way he played all year. He and Kyle both are the type of players that can, ignite a game for us. I thought Kyle had a tough night shooting, but he made it up with some of his will plays, attacking the rim. His defense, knocking the ball loose, diving on the floor, calling timeout was a huge play for us. So he does so many other things for us that it doesn't show up on the stat sheet.
Last question to Josh, please.
Coach, obviously Cory came in here with all that playoff experience from his time in San Antonio. What can you say about the sort of consistency that he gave you throughout the series?
He was huge. He came in and got us going with that second unit. He was part of that brigade in the end, though, that we got to work on the closing. But I tell you what, he did a heck of a job of getting us going when he came in. His just experience, he's been there before. It wasn't because of the moment. I don't know if he was fatigued or not, but he was huge coming off the bench, shooting jump shots, getting to the rim, passing the ball, making plays. That was a great pickup by Masai and Jeff and this summer for our team. He fits our team. He fits the chemistry for our team. It doesn't hurt that he's Canadian, but I love him, young man. His heart's in the right place. His and Bismack Biyombo's heart. We added heart, grit, and toughness to our team with those two guys. and their spirit. Their spirit is in the right place, and it makes up for a lot of deficiencies.